Hello and welcome back, my wonderful ladies, and welcome if you're new here. My name is JAKS, and this is my channel where I've been sharing our journey all the way from infertility to IVF to adoption to parenting and now pregnancy, all the while trying to give you some hope, some inspiration, and a little bit of knowledge so that you feel better making choices in your own journey. This week is my 27-week pregnancy update, and it was a big one because we had a growth scan and my glucose test. All right, let's jump in with the baby update like we usually do. This week, baby Kingsley is about the size of a fennec fox, which just makes me think of this Save a Fox channel. If you don't follow them on YouTube, they're a fox rescue channel, and the lady who runs it is just a little eccentric to say the least, but it's so awesome to see her do all of her work, and me and my brother send her videos back all the time. So it just makes me think of Finnegan Fox, who's the main fox of the Save a Fox Rescue. Anyway, oh my gosh, pregnancy brain all over the place already. Little baby Kingsley is about 14 and a half inches long and weighs about 2 pounds, although I have not had my growth scan. I'm literally filming this right before that. So I will give an update a little bit later on the measurements that they have from that scan. This week he is moving more than ever. He's kicking and punching and rolling and all of that good stuff, but he's also hiccuping. And while I haven't felt that yet, I don't think, it's just fun to think about that happening and him gaining more and more function. Speaking of which, his lungs are getting so much stronger. If you look at the viability charts for between weeks, 27 and 30, you just see this massive spike up, and it is because of their lungs getting so much stronger and having so much more practice actually breathing. And as has been the update with the last few weeks, they're getting more and more in fat, so he's layering on that fat to help regulate his own body temperature once he comes out into this world, which is also making him plump up. If you've been following me for a long time, you know that Evangeline was a tiny baby. She was born early and a little over 6 pounds, so she was tiny, so she never really got to that chubby baby stage. So I'm secretly hoping that maybe Kingsley's a little chubby baby, so that I can have that little chubby baby experience. But he has a long way to go before that'll happen, and he's working on it. Which kind of ties into the mommy update, so let's just move right along. This week, I am weighing in just shy of 158 pounds, so my weight gains are a little under 9.5 pounds for the whole pregnancy, but this was a pretty big spike up this week, hopefully because he's building a lot of muscle and fat and getting bigger. We'll see. I'm so excited for the growth scan. My belly is also getting bigger. This week we finally went over that 31 inches mark, and we're solidly at 31 and a half inches around the widest part of my stomach. So finally getting a little more bump action happening. I can definitely feel it. Definitely feel him way more, first off. I can feel him way more often. I'm starting to get used to his sleep and wake cycles. Not so much in the AM, that's still kind of a mystery, but definitely in the PM, I know to expect him up usually kind of right around 3:30, right after 7, and then right as I go to bed. That one's probably just more that I lay down and shift positions, but it's still these kind of 2 to 3 hour increments, which will, hopefully help me keep track of kick counts, but also be mimicking his cycles and when he's actually born. So this is the end. This is the end of the second trimester. We're into the third trimester, the home stretch. I know I mentioned this last week and got pumped about it, but I'm getting pumped again. I always film these at the end of the week, so we are done with week 27. We are into 28. In fact, today is the first day of 28 because it's our 28-week growth scan, which I'm going to try to vlog for you. In fact, let's just put that footage here. Hello. Welcome to my car again. I am a little late for my appointment. I have 10 minutes, but I also got to drink this thing. You're supposed to down it in 5 minutes. It's officially 2:53. So, it just smells like a Pedialyte. Do you think it's gross? All right, let's go. Cheers. Chug it like back in college. JK, never chugged anything back in college.
case my mom's watching. Done. Done, son. Let's see. That wasn't that bad. I did keep it, I literally like kept it in the fridge, and then I brought an ice pack to keep it ice cold. I can see how this gets real gross real fast if it's any amount of warm. So keeping it really cold. I wish I hadn't downed a bunch of water before I'd gotten in the car, because I think I'm just full now. But other than that, I'm good. Finished at 2:55, well within the 5-minute time frame. And now I need to go and have my sonogram and then get my blood drawn and see my doctor. No idea what order that's gonna be in. I will check in with you ladies when I get back, obviously. Whoosh. Hi guys. All right, done. That was a lot. We did a lot today. So first had my sonogram, and this was my first sonogram that I had to go alone, which I know makes me very lucky, but because of my past traumas with sonograms, they've been really nice about letting the husband come in with me. So this was the first one that I went alone, but it went fine. She did a few other measurements, and then she did the heart rate, and then I like relaxed back in my seat. Like I just visibly relaxed. So everything with that went really well. He's still breech. He still has his feet up by his head. So he's frank breech, which he's been this whole time. So not a problem right now. He has another month or two to spin around. But it just makes me suspicious because he's been that way the whole time. But babies flip, we'll see. Let's see what else. Kidneys look good. Bladder looked good. She did all of his measurements, and he was measuring in the 53rd percentile at 2 pounds, 9 ounces. So I feel like that's a lot more than my apps say. I feel like my apps are putting him like really small. So doing really well there, right in the middle. Then I went and I got my blood drawn for my 1-hour glucose tests, and they'll call me later if I fail. So don't want to call from them. And got another RhoGAM shot. I really feel like I should be getting like a buy one, get one free on those RhoGAM shots. I get them all the time. If you're not familiar, a RhoGAM shot is something you have to get if you have a negative blood type. Essentially because if your baby doesn't also have a negative blood type, then your body can essentially see them as a foreign body and build up antibodies. And while it doesn't do anything for this pregnancy, it can create antibodies that would fight off any future pregnancies. So I get them all the time. You have to get them whenever you have any kind of bleed during pregnancy, or I had to get them after my miscarriages. So it's just, I get them a lot. But that is done. So this one was done in preparation for delivery, because they last a good amount of time. So this one was just in preparation for that. No bleeding. Saw my doctor. She's immaculately dressed as always. I don't think I've mentioned this, but I've mentioned how much I love her, but she is also just immaculately dressed all the time. Like she just walked out of a magazine, which always cracks me up. Cause I don't know. I'm like, you're looking, like, I don't know, just, you don't need to look so nice when I'm walking in here in leggings. But she was really delightful. So we just went over basic 3rd trimester stuff, where you're gonna deliver, here's your breast pump prescription, jazz like that. Nothing too earth-shattering, and we don't know where we're gonna deliver for sure. I think we're like 90% sure, but we'll see. And yeah, so that's it. And now I need to call the husband because it is dinner time, and he messaged me like 5 times being like, should we do this for dinner? Should we do this? So he's obviously hungry, which reminds me, I didn't mention this in my actual sit down update, but my appetite's been all over. I think you can kind of see it in my weight gain where it's like, like it's up and then a little bit up and then up. Like some weeks my appetite's on, sometimes it's not. So it's not a big deal. Definitely nothing like the 1st, 2nd trimester nausea, but it's just interesting. Some nights I just have like no appetite for dinner, make myself eat something just cause like I know I need to. But I don't know what's up with that. Certainly not like debilitating. It's just like dinner time rolls around. I'm like, meh, I don't care. So that's where we're at. And I will send you back to the studio. Bye.
Welcome back. You officially now know things that I don't know yet, so bear with me if something drastic has changed in the meantime. But I'm going to finish out this update and then go to my doctor's appointment. So, it's a big week. Kind of why I wanted to put all of that growth scan and the glucose test into this update is because we have our birth class this weekend, and I wanted to include that into next week's update. I'm interested to see how that goes. Ours is actually in person, which seems to be a rarity. Talking to some of my fellow IVF mamas, all of theirs have been virtual. I'm actually really excited for ours to be in person. Probably why it was so hard to get into a class, because they have such reduced class sizes. But I think hopefully we'll get a lot more out of that. I'm interested to see if the husband takes anything away from it. Obviously, I've read a bunch of pregnancy books and a bunch of birth books and been in this realm for a while. So I'm not sure how much I'll get from it, but hopefully he gets quite a bit from it. Plus, it gives us a sneak peek at the hospital that I think we're going to go with for the birth. I'm still figuring it out. But that leads me to my next thing. My doula checked in with me this week because she hadn't heard from me a while. And honestly, I hadn't reached out because we had been in the middle of that placenta previa stuff, and I'd been so down about maybe having to have a scheduled C-section. I was like, there goes my pipe dreams of like a natural birth and my doula and all that jazz. So I was just waiting for all that to settle, so I didn't mean to ignore her. But we had a nice chat, and when I mentioned to her that, I don't think I can go to the birth center anymore, obviously because of my partial cord insertion and all these extra monitorings, and I don't want to go with the one hospital that all the doulas didn't like, and I mentioned this other hospital. She was really receptive to that, really seemed to like a lot of the providers down there, and the staff and the rooms. Said it's been renovated even more recently than the closer hospital, so a lot of the rooms are nicer, and she just seemed way more upbeat. So she said she thought that was a good choice without saying she thought that was a good choice. So I appreciate that. She's always been super respectful of letting us make our own choices, obviously. And frankly, the only other thing I got symptom-wise is I am tired. I'm just not getting very good quality sleep. My Fitbit obviously keeps track of my sleep, and while I may be in bed for 9 hours, I'm only getting like 7 hours of sleep. And that's the only thing that I'm having trouble kind of reconciling this week is I don't know how many more hours like at night I can dedicate to sleeping, but I'm just not getting the quality of sleep that I'm used to. And I think I'm just tossing and turning more, obviously, as it gets more uncomfortable. Always up at least once to go to the bathroom. And then other than that, I get really sore throats. I think it's because I'm so congested. I end up breathing through my mouth. My throat gets sore. I got to get water 4 or 5 times during the night. So I don't think there's a lot to be done about that. I don't think that's going to get better until the baby is born. But that is really all I'm going with this week. Otherwise, it's just same old, same old. Out of breath pretty easy. Nothing sore or tender. I feel like I need to like knock on wood or something that I'm not in like any pain this week. But that's all good. Managing reflux worked pretty well. Yeah. Yay, rounding up the second trimester. All right, on to the family update. I always try to include something about the husband or Evie or both since they're along for this journey as well. And this update is a little bit different. And I'm kind of purposely downplaying it because sometimes, a lot of the times when I talk about our adoption here on this channel, it like brings on this torrent of comments that aren't helpful or kind. So I'm kind of burying it in here. But I do want to continue to be an example of what modern day adoption looks like, what modern day open adoption looks like. So I wanted to share this little tidbit with you. But this past weekend, we went to the zoo with Evie's birth mom and one of her friends. If you, real quick recap, from way back when, originally Evie's birth mom didn't know if she wanted any openness. And over the last 1.5 years, we have just always said, we're fine with everything. So she's setting the pace and tried to be really supportive and just kind in all of our interactions. It's not very difficult. She's an awesome person. But I've been really proud of us being able to facilitate this relationship well. She reached out and started to want photos. We've been emailing back and forth. And then this is our first post-placement visit. And I think it went really well. Evie was a little overwhelmed being at the zoo with a lot of people because obviously she spent a bulk of her life in quarantine. So she's never really been around that many people. So she was a little overwhelmed at that. But I think that her birth mom got a bunch of photos and videos. I think honestly that's why her friend came with her, to be someone else on her side, obviously, but to act as the videographer and photographer. And I'm more than happy that they got a bunch of photos and videos of them getting to interact and be together. I know that's obviously really special for her. So overall, it was a really positive experience. Obviously, I was nervous going in, wanting to make sure it was everything she wanted and a positive experience for her, because our end goal is to have an open relationship where everybody knows each other and gets to see each other, and this is working towards that goal. So it's just a really, I'm gonna go with like complex and unique relationship to facilitate and be a part of. It's not quite like any other relationship that you have in your adult life. And so I want to be open and honest with you that this is hard, but still really rewarding and really what we wanted. So it was all good. And it was just great to see her again. Obviously we email back and forth, but it's not quite the same as getting to see her and see that she's doing okay. So it all went good. I guess in summary is what I'm trying to say is we had a positive visit, and I hope that we get to do that again in the future. And this is just an example to anyone out there who is in a adoption with changing levels of openness, that is part of it, and your relationship with the birth family grows. Anyway, that is all I have for this week. Thank you. I appreciate that you came and spent your time here with me today. And until next time, ladies, keep on fighting.